What is up, Scrub fam? I am back with another deck profile. We have completed release weekend. Before I get started on my video, let me give a shout out to number one, all the patrons. I just had more patrons join up on the Patreon. It's been an amazing weekend just chatting with everybody, getting to know them, as well as talking about the decks that they wanted to work on, as well as just their experiences this weekend with release weekend in the format and how they feel about the game itself. A lot of positivity, a lot of really great things going on with the Patreon itself. It's one of the best things I've ever done, not only just because of just how great the community is, but honestly just the experience of being able to chat, work on different decks with people, and then of course to explore this new format. And I've had a lot of fun with it so far. Also, want to give a shout out to my sponsor, Beer Collectibles, Alec Pastrana, best shop owner on the planet. If you're looking to get your sealed product, if you're looking to go through anyone, always go through Alec Pastrana, regardless of any issues that come up. So, for instance, like we had this setback where the truck broke down in shipping, right? Even though that happened, him and his team have been working so hard to get product out. Some people got their product as soon as Sunday, even though they had the shipping error with the truck breaking down. But other people like myself, I'm getting my stuff tomorrow, so I'm excited to crack my boxes, get my product. But anyway, Alec Pastrana is the best shop owner on the planet. He's the best sponsor you could possibly have. So shout out to him, and make sure if you're looking at your product, you can go to beercollectibles.com. That'll be in the link in the description below. But again, if you haven't signed up for the Patreon yet, go ahead and take the time to do so if you feel like it. Even if you want to do the $1 tier, you get access to all my posts, which usually consist of articles, thoughts throughout the day, things about the format, updated deck lists that were on the channel, but have just been further updated, so you guys get the most updated version of my decks. All that you can get access to for $1, the $4.20 tier. You get access to not only that, but you can submit deck lists to me once per month, and we can go on and work on tuning it and building it together and just making sure that the deck is completely optimal, within the month, so you're playing it at your locals or the next event you're going to, so you can be prepared. And then the 1337 tier, if you sign up for that, you get all the benefits of the first two tiers, but also you get a 2-hour playtest session with myself, as well as you get to have one of your decks featured on the channel that we work on together. So something that you feel, pride in, and we work on it, we determine that's really good in this format, we'll go ahead and make one of those the deck profile. So anyway, without further ado, let me go ahead and do this deck. This is something different. This is a leader that we haven't talked about in a long time, but a leader that actually ends up being really good, especially in this type of strategy. So this is Mecha Frieza and its swaps. The reason why I wanted to play Mecha Frieza is I was actually talking to a really good friend, Sean Postoki, and he knows that I've been playing Bardock swaps, and that deck's been pretty cool, pretty fun. But then he talked about how he wanted to play Ginyu with swaps because, he wanted to be able to, flip over a Goldo almost like a free blocker. But his only issue was he hated the fact that he has to tap out on his early turns in order to generate swap advantage. And I was just like, well, why don't you just play Mega Frieza? And then all of a sudden it was just like the light bulb went off, and then so I went to brewing a list immediately. We started working on it, and then so this is this configuration that I have to date. So this is the deck list as of right now, which has some interesting card choices, but otherwise the deck's been really sweet in testing. And I played a game tonight on Pat's stream, which I believe he's going to be archiving the stream, so it should be up on his YouTube channel, where I did actually go off and I did actually get the Height of Mastery Son Goku to win the game, which is pretty insane. It's pretty sick. But anyway, let me go ahead and go to the deck list for you guys. So, first things first, let's go from the top. So, Time Choice Supreme Kai Time. You guys know my feelings on this card. I think this is one of the best Overrealm cards out right now. Impulse, looking at the top 3 cards, choosing a battle card, place it in your hand, place the other on the bottom of your deck. Card's incredibly powerful, especially when you combine it with enablers like Success or Hope that shuffles your deck. Just because, like I said before, you can look at those 3 cards, pick the one that you need right then, put the other 2 on the bottom, and then if you ever need to get them back in rotation, you play your card to shuffle, and then now they're there, and you just know what cards are in your deck, which is always great to have that knowledge. Next, 3 Full Power Energy. This is becoming the premier negate of the set next to the other negate that I'm playing in the deck itself, but Full Power is what you're going to need in this aggro format with those aggressive 1-drops, those aggressive plays early, especially if the opponent makes a mistake, like which they might against you, where they play their 1-drop Bardock on their own turn, and then they swing with their leader while it's still in play, not thinking you have access to full power, and then you just take a life in full power, and then kill the Bardock, and you just stifle any sort of progress they're looking to make that turn, or just one of their crit 1-drops. So you get huge value off of it as well. So I like running 3 full power. You can even think about going to 4 if you want to, but right now 3 feels like the sweet spot. We got 4 Successor or Hope. This card overperforms more often than not. It's getting any card you need on any spot of the curve that you need it for when you're looking to do swap. So there's no point in not playing 4. It's basically your additional copies of Bardock, your additional copies of your 2-drop, your 3-drop, your 4-drop. So anything along the curve up to 5, you can go ahead and get with Successor Hope. And like I said, shuffling your deck in this game is incredibly powerful. Anything that lets you tutor is incredibly powerful, and this lets you do it for free. Next, we have 4 Flying Nimbus. So the premier negate, this is what's going to keep you alive. And the reason why we're playing 4, after working with Sean, we were originally at 3, but playing 4 felt the best because you need to survive, because you're pretty much all in on the Height of Mastery plan, because once you get Height of Mastery, games are pretty much, a wrap once that's there. So you need to play 4 Nimbuses to make sure that you get there. And so also, if you tap out and you need to play a negate, you can play a Nimbus, discard a card, and you can stave off some of the bleeding. Next, we run 4 Cold Bloodlust. This is another great thing. So if opponent plays a 1-drop against you and you have Cold Bloodlust, you Cold Bloodlust the Bardock. It loses all its abilities, including swap. You can Cold Bloodlust the 2-drop Goten when it comes into play. You can Cold Bloodlust, all the crit 1-drops or any impactful card you have access to Cold Bloodlust. So card's still great, especially when you can play for free. Ones, we're playing 6 ones. So we're playing 3 Bardock the Progenitor, 3 Adoptive Father Son Gohan. So it in the swap decks, you'll find yourself wanting to play less and less of the Bardock the Progenitor because life is valuable, especially if you have a self-harm leader, so like the Bardock leader or Mecha Frieza, which usually is taking life to hand in order to play extra cards. So I really like to kind of slow it down sometimes and split it with the Adoptive Father Son Gohan, because the blocker can sometimes be more valuable across the course of a game, whereas the Bardock the Progenitor is really good on the first 2 to 3 turns. Unless you're playing a Will of Iron based deck, then you're going to want to have this throughout the game. So I'm playing 3 and 3 with Adoptive Father Son Gohan. The 2s, we're playing 7 2s. 2 of the 2s you're not really casting. The Gene Family of Justice you're only playing when you have the Bardock down. So basically what you'll find off in your turn 1 play is turn 1 you'll successor into whatever you need. You'll play a Bardock. Then you'll play a Gene Family of Justice. You'll swap the Bardock back to hand and then drop a 2-drop down. So Interpret Dynasty Son Gohan. Reason why you drop this down because it has barrier. So that guarantees the next turn you're going to be able to swap into the 3. So that's usually the target with Successor of Hope once you already have your 1-drop. So the other 2-drops are the Intrepid Dynasty Son Gohan. It just has barrier, so it just guarantees that you stay alive. The next is Dependable Dynasty Son Goku, just a good attacker. Thinking that I might actually end up going up to 4 Intrepid Dynasties or 3 and then switching with Dependable Dynasty, but I just like having so many cards that are tutorable that it's nice to have some flexibility. If we look at our super combos, we're splitting Shigesh and Dodoria right now. If you're playing an event and you didn't expect a lot of time control Cronoa, then you could think about doing the full 4 Shigesh. But I really like doing about 2-2, is that even if your opponent does have it, in their main deck in game 1, you can still have the Dodoria for super combo, and then post board game 2, in your sideboard you'd run 4 Unbreakables, and then so you just take out the 2 Shigeshes, put in 2 Unbreakable Son Goku, and then now you have more combo power for yourself, just so you can swap those out. But Shigesh is really just a key card, because it just allows you to do the most unfair things if your opponent doesn't have Granoa, because you can basically Shigesh into play your Gohan for defense, kill a battle card, and then, or if you want to do it offensively, that enables a swap on your turn. So that's why I'm playing a 2-2 split right now. We then have the 3-drop Son Gohan, so it comes into play. It's basically like the LeBron James Explosive Spirit Son Goku. It comes down, KOs something that's in rest mode. And the main reason why you're playing this is because this is where your swaps actually start to gain much more value. So, even you notice the 2-drop, you pay 2 to put a 3-drop into play, which, I mean, that's good because it's, 1 energy less, but realistically, this is where you start to really get your money. So you're only paying 2 energy to put the 4 into play. And once you put the 4 into play, it comes into play and it draws 2 cards. So oftentimes your play is going to be swing with ultimate potential once it's in play. Your opponent's going to have to either guard it by comboing or taking the life. Then you swap into Dynasty Son Gohan, bring the 3-drop back to hand, you draw 2 cards, so you end up drawing more cards into your deck, and you can swing with this if you need to. Oftentimes, depending on the matchup, I'll leave this in active mode, so then I don't have to worry about it as much, so I can always set up the going into the 5-drop on the next turn. So then from there, once you have the 4-drop, you then swap into your 5-drop. As of right now, I'm doing just a nifty 3-1 split. They both have barrier, so it's both effective, but honestly, if you find yourself, you have a Son Goku at the apex, and somehow you want to swing with it, and then it dies, you then can play Abrupt Breakthrough Son Goku. So, it's something that is pretty sweet. So I really like the Abrupt Breakthrough Son Goku to partner with that, so I'm just playing a 3-1 split right now. Again, both are tutorable by Successor or Hope, and you really just need a 5-drop to come into play so you can evolve into the 8. So then, with that being said, we then have the Height of Mastery Son Goku. You guys saw me play this on stream. Comes into play. Can't be, crushable, doesn't work on it. Bloodlust doesn't work on it. It has triple strike, has dual attacks. So even if your opponent has that first negate, you're going to be able to swing again. And then tapping down 3 things. So when I was playing against Pat on stream, I opted to tap down 3 of his battle cards because he had 3 KO blockers. So all of them were tapped, and then I was able to swing out for game relatively easily. But also against SS3, you can punish them and then tap down 3 of their energy. So this has been Mecha Swaps. I really do challenge you guys to play Mecha more so in this format because Mecha is actually really powerful because it allows you to play on curve and still play those counter cards, and it allows you to play off-color counter cards. So honestly, Mecha probably has one of the coolest looking sideboards because now the leader is starting to be used for the purpose it was originally intended, which is basically giving yourself access to these defensive cards and gaining value from it. Whereas before, if you couldn't play offensive cards, the decks just weren't as good. Whereas now, having access to multiple colors of defensive cards is just straight value. So in your sideboard, you can play things like Sensu Bean, you can play Coercions, you can play a fourth full power energy. You just have access to so many different things that you can do on your turn, and so Mecha Frieza just ends up being a great choice for a deck like this. Otherwise, this is my second deck with swaps. I've been really enjoying swaps as a mechanic just because of the value it generates, and I really like Hide of Mastery Son Goku as a finisher, and he's highly accessible because getting the 5-drop into play is relatively easily. I know people are saying stuff like playing the high costed swap cards is bad, but you just really have to focus your deck around it and build your deck around it, and honestly, you have to play the game with the hopes of living as long as possible. And a lot of people right now have to get into that mindset. So get yourself switched over to that. If you're not playing one of the fast decks, if you're not playing Trunk Storm, which I played Trunk Storm on stream tonight as well, and was able to get the win because like I knew that I had to play around full power energy like the entire game. And so once you get accustomed to playing as the fast deck, you now have to think about ways that you can play a deck that slows those decks down, and you have to think about your play style. So when to be aggressive on your turns, when not to be aggressive, when to hold your energy up, when to deploy blockers. Like blockers are incredibly impactful in this format, so I challenge you to play decks that run the free blockers, run extra negates if you need to. Just play these key cards that take advantage of the format and take advantage of these over aggressive strategies, because once they overextend, and they deploy a bunch of cards to the board, they tap their energy, you do something like Nimbus, you throw off a lot of their tempo, a lot of their advantages that they're looking at the game by being the aggressive deck. So Mecha Swaps is a real deck. This deck has been testing really well. I haven't really had too many issues with it so far. I really like the way the deck plays because, again, it focuses on maintaining its own state, its own game plan, while just trying to stifle yours with all of its defensive cards and defensive hate. So otherwise, I really like this deck. I hope you guys enjoy this deck profile, and I hope you take a chance and try this out. Again, if you want to go ahead and join the Patreon, I'll put a link in the description below, so you can go ahead and click on that. You can choose whatever tier you want, the dollar tier, the 420 tier, the 1337, and then you get everything that you're looking for on a daily basis when it comes to content or just in general someone to talk to you about the game with. But again, thank you guys so much. You are the best. Scrub fam is best fam. Okay, bye!